Hi, everybody. This is Miguel Vasquez, mortgage broker, real estate agent. Just to answer a question that I get often is like, hey, Miguel, how do I start investing? I want to start acquiring properties so that I can retire early, right? And it's a great question. So, how do you get started in investing in real estate? You start little by little, okay? First, ideally, you should qualify to buy your own home. Maybe a year or two after you have your own home and you've acquired equity, the more equity that you have in your house, the better. But you don't necessarily have to have a lot of equity to acquire a new property. It just has to make sense, right? So, for example, if you own a property and you've owned it for 1 or 2 years, and you're like, hey, I want to go and buy a second property, right? And let's say that second property, and it has to make sense, okay, to the bank that's going to lend you the money to buy that new property. If buying that new property is going to make sense as a primary residence, in other words, like, yeah, that makes sense. That house he or she's buying is closer to their work or is bigger. If that property makes sense for you to move into, then all we have to do is give 5% down, 5% down as a down payment so that it's going to be your primary residence, right? Obviously, the numbers still need to make sense in terms of what you make and being able to sustain that payment. But we're also going to use the rent of your current home, because if you're going to move into the new one, the one that you're currently living at right now, that one's going to be vacant, so we'll rent that one out. And the rent that we're going to collect for that one is going to also be included as income to qualify overall, okay? So that's probably the easiest way. Like, hey, why don't I buy a property, or you own your property and you want to buy your second property. If it makes sense to you and the lender that you're going to move out and the new one that you're going to buy is going to be your primary residence, we only have to get 5% down. And as long as it makes sense in terms of income that you make to sustain that new payment for the new house that you're buying, we can rent out your current one after the sale and then use that rental income also to qualify you, okay? Now, all this is done before you make any moves, okay? All this is done in paperwork. I can do that for you. I can tell you, hey, this is, if we buy a house for X amount of price, the new house payment is going to be so much. And with your income, yeah, we can qualify. And then guess what? You still have the payment for your current house, but since we're going to rent it for this amount, then that rental income is going to cover the current payment that you currently have, right? And so there you go. Now you bought a new house, you moved into it, you're renting out your current home, and now you're an investor. Now you have 2 properties, and now all we have to do is repeat it again in 2, 3, 4 years. Okay. Now, sometimes if the property is not going to be your primary residence, then the down payments is going to be larger. It's going to be typically 15, 20, 25% down. Okay. That can be a substantial amount of money that a lot of us don't have and it's not lying around. So one possibility is, if you own your home, your current home that you live in, and you have enough equity in there, one option is to refinance, do a cash out, get out that money, and then use that money to purchase the duplex, or to purchase the apartments, or to purchase a 4-plex, or to purchase 5 units, and give that amount of down payment, which again, it's going to be a substantial amount. And then once you purchase it, then the rents collected from the new purchase should hopefully cover the new payment for that property. Okay? And then again, it has to also make sense that your income is able to sustain your current home and the current new payment from the cash out. Okay? But obviously, all this would be done in paper. Scenario one, this is what the new payment would be for the cash out. This would be the payment for the new purchase, giving 15, 20, 25% down. And then we're going to collect rents from this unit and from this unit and from this unit. Okay, depending whether you buy a triplex or a fourplex or just one house, whatever makes more sense. Okay, so that's how typically you started investing and start acquiring properties, and then after that you can just repeat it every 2, 3, 4 years. Make it a go to, hey, let me purchase an additional property. Okay, and that's about it. If you have any questions regarding how to become an investor, how to start investing, how to acquire multifamily, how to acquire units, how to acquire rentals, by all means, call me. We can have a conversation. I'll do the details and payments scenarios for you and then give them to you. That way you can look them over and think about them. If they make sense for you, then you'll be able to take the next step when you're ready. Okay? Again, my name is Miguel Vasquez. Thank you for listening to this video. You can call me back. Call me if you have any questions at 562-881-9811. Thank you so much.